So, in my previous video, I talked a lot about, kind of the weird limbo state I was in and the, fucking, kind of this fear of what makes me happy, it seems like, and stuff like that. And I think, there's other layers to it, but what I started to think about was like this fear of failure. I mean, we all have that a lot, and big part of it is the societal thing. There is just this thing with me. It's this weird. The reason stuck in this like middle spot between either just embracing the impulse, or straight up going for the thing that actually is going to make me happy or something like that. The reason I'm always stuck in this limbo is because these two sides of myself, this logical side, and then the side that's just well, okay, well, what I'm getting at is there is, if I'm being real with myself, it's not being happy and becoming happy. Really, for me, I'm actually pretty fucking low maintenance. But then there's this thing of just like this way I was raised and certain things I was taught either intentionally or unintentionally, and this societal thing of like how that success is measured and all this kind of stuff. So even though I don't actually value a lot of the things that a lot of people do, I think it's stupid a lot of times, it is in my face constantly. So it makes me feel like shit, especially because there is some element of truth for me. There is the whole procrastinating on things and letting things build up and not tackling them when I should. That makes me, look at people that are successful my age and feel like shit because I haven't capitalized on things. But I get it twisted, and I think I'm just jealous of the fact that they're, rich and successful. But no, it's the seizing of opportunity thing. But even though there's an element of truth into that and something I should work on, element of truth in the fact of like that is kind of a thing that is a thing, that is a true thing that I need to work on, and a true thing that I need to like that of the of me not capitalizing on the things that I should have in the past. That is something I have that is a mistake I've made. But the problem is I'm looking at it from the wrong angle. It is a thing, but it's something I'm making myself feel way worse about than I should. It would take like 2 seconds to really fix it because, like I said, in reality, I'm a pretty low maintenance person. Once I get the ball rolling, all of a sudden everything's good. I don't need to be rich and successful and well known and all this kind of stuff. As long as things are just good, I'm doing the things I want to do. As long as I got the opportunity to continue to do the things I want to do and all this kind of stuff, it's whatever. It's the fact that like I have been tricked into putting way too much importance on those things that I like and that I want because everyone else does, or there's the whole everything's got to be monetizable thing, especially in this generation with the internet and shit like that, and all the fucking all this shit, and it makes it for me bleed out to all these other things, and it makes me, and I've been like this, when it comes to things I want to do, or when it comes to a holiday or something like that, where I just make things so much worse because I make it a whole thing. I put this pressure on myself to make this thing that I like or want to do to be fun, even though the reason the thing is fun or makes me happy in the first place is because it's a carefree type thing. It's not something that should be thought about too much. And that's kind of my issue there, right there. That's probably not the most relatable issue I'm talking about here, but that is something that I do. That is another issue on top of it. But point is, really, there's like this universal thing of like, we get convinced of the wrong things being valuable. Or rather, they don't come from the wrong places, really. A lot of these things are valuable, things like family, career, and all this kind of stuff. but just too much importance is placed on it. They're important things to want. You know, it's great if you want them. It's great if those are things that fulfill you and all this kind of stuff. But it's like people want to make life into like this checklist, and that's not how it should work. And like, and it's a thing I've been thinking about a lot lately because I've seen people have some really dumb takes on the internet about whatever you want to say, you know, whatever their favorite fucking like music or, you know, a celebrity or something like that. There's this thing that people do because it's, you know, the reality of life is scary. It is scary if you actually take everything in and actually like if you're aware of everything, if you're self-aware, all this kind of stuff, shit's fucking scary because nothing's certain, all this kind of stuff. But people, because of that, they have this defense mechanism. And it bleeds into so many different things in people's lives. And it goes from like, you know, just being like this, you know, it's kind of annoying that this person's acting like that, to actually being detrimental to other people around them. You know, it's all over the place, but it's this thing of wanting to put things into specific boxes because it makes them feel better. Because if they were to be honest with themselves, and a lot of times it's because, the reason I reference celebrities and like musicians, stuff like that, is because of people that are famous. This is actually a very good example of people that are famous or something like that. People that are successful and very good at what they do. This person that never tried anything in their life convinces themselves that that person's untouchable. That's actually not true at all. Right? This person convinces themselves that that person's like, oh my god. But the reason they do that is because they don't want to have to think enough about what they're doing, right? They just want to be like, oh my god, they're just so great. I could never, right? So they won't even put in enough effort or anything like that because, you know, it helps them cope. Which, you know, whatever, you got to do what you got to do. But it can be a real issue sometimes. And in certain ways I do that, as self-aware as I am, and as much as I like to point fun at people for doing that, especially when it comes to bullshit, not petty, just things that don't matter, like famous people. I do it with very important things. Unfortunately, I because I'm so self-aware, as I scramble to put everything in these little boxes. This is not how it works. And I mean, I'm getting off topic on what I was saying about people putting in boxes. I was referencing something with me, but whatever. The thing is with people putting things in boxes and all that kind of stuff, it's why society okay. It's why society values the wrong things, is because of the fact that like it comes from really the right things to value. It's just they put too much value on it, or they try to prescribe everyone this certain way of life because this worked for them, or this is supposed to work, and stuff like that. And it becomes this whole thing, and then we just kind of like, a lot of us lose our identity because of all the shit we're exposed to and all the fucking, you know, societal pressures, whether it's intentional or unintentional. And we just do this. I mean, it's real hard when you, specifically when you're like, when you look at like social media and stuff like that, and you get the whole thing where you see someone who seems like they have the perfect life and stuff like that. Which, by the way, part of the reason you still feel that way, even when you know that, is because, well, it's this weird primal thing in us of even though we know, it's like our primitive selves don't know the difference, so they see that and automatically take that like, oh, now I feel like shit because this person's life is perfect, even though you know that's not true. You still get tricked into it, and then we can talk forever about how evil the fucking Instagram and Twitter algorithm are, or whatever the fuck. But yeah, no, it's this. So with me, it's this fight of my logical side, and then the side of me that's like this. These old beliefs I like seem to refuse to let go of, just because it's, you know, I had believed them for so long and worked out that particular muscle in my brain for so long of convincing myself of, you know, all these things that, like, you know, I'm trying about, you know, I gotta be good at everything. I gotta, you know, whatever, all this kind of stuff. And like, if I really, sift through like we could go way back to when I was like a kid. I didn't get very much praise for all this kind of stuff, whatever. And then one day I started doing things I like to do, and I got good at them. And then I started getting praise from them, and then I started valuing that, which is a bad thing to value for so many reasons, but also because you're not always going to get those compliments all the time. So once you don't have that thing that's fueling you. Now you feel like shit. But in addition to that, there's also the fact that now I'm valuing being good at things as the ultimate thing. So now I got to be good at everything, and I can't make mistakes and all this kind of stuff. And it becomes this whole thing because my actual beliefs is it is good to be good at things, but really, I don't gotta be good at that many. I can be good at what I do and the way I do it, and then that's it. I don't have to be good at anything else. I could be, an amazing musician, and I could work out real hard, get real strong, but then, I fucking don't know how to change a tire. Who gives a fuck? Right? And that's the thing too, especially when you lean into what you're good at, you actually don't care as much if you're good at other things. But that's the thing, is I was still even then fighting with it when I actively am doing the things I want to do and feeling better about that. I still am fighting with myself because I'm still trying to convince myself, because of the way things look and the way people behave and stuff like that. I'm convincing myself that like all this outside shit still matters. All this shit that I see that is supposed to be valuable still matters, even though I don't believe that. So that's been my issue, is this constant feeling like a failure because of believing in something that I don't actually believe in. Right? I'm pretty fucking like, here's the thing, is I'm a pretty low maintenance person that doesn't need much, but the hobbies that I want to turn into careers and stuff like that, it's music and stuff like that. So it is the kind of thing that tends to lead to the validation and success and stuff like that for a lot of people. So it makes me feel like I have to be that. I mean, but I gotta remember, there's even a video I saw, I forget the YouTuber. Once I figure it out, I'll link it, but like, it's, she was talking about, it's like, you don't have to be fucking rich and famous, and she used so many different examples, but she said something about people not, making their first album until they're 30 and stuff like that. But there was the one thing that stuck with me about this one guy, this friend of hers. Because first she was just talking about other people in the field and stuff like that, but then she was talking about someone she knew personally who makes music, sells albums, isn't super well known, but makes just enough to keep making it a living. So he's able to play concerts and shows, with a decent group of people, and then he's able to go home and walk around and like not be fucking like harassed because he's not like famous. I'm like, that's actually perfect, right? Me when I was younger would disagree because all I need is validation. I want to be rich and famous. But that's actually the dream, having, whatever amount of money. I mean, we'd like to be rich, but like having enough money to, be able to like be comfortable, and then also just be able to do what I want to do, and then also not get harassed. Like, fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Like, yeah. If I could do that, have that musician lifestyle and not be famous, honest to God, I would take that. I would take that. If I could make a career being a musician the way I want to be, like playing shows and everything like that, and not be famous but still be able to get by, hell yeah, I'm fucking with that. And so that kind of helps. If I remember that video, beat it into my head that like this is what you actually believe, that helps too. It's just this, what I was feeling earlier was definitely it was this fighting with myself thing that I still do to this day, because it doesn't take that much to make me happy, but I still put this, I still do this thing of like, oh, what do others want me to do, and all this kind of stuff, instead of just being real with myself, because I've never failed myself when I've just been real with myself, and then I hold on to these old, when I was talking about holding on to old past things, there's also ideas that I developed when I was younger of what the future would look like that I still actually hold on to, and that's not very good, because when you become an adult, you realize reality is a lot different than what you were imagining when you were like a teenager and shit like that. It's way different. So there's that part of me that still wants to hold on to that old image, when it's like feeling like if I lose that, I'll lose a part of myself, or I'll just I'll fall apart. It's like, there's nothing wrong with giving up on that part. the unrealistic parts, and not in the sense of like you can't like make it or something like that. It's in the sense of just kind of like a fucking everyone and their mother wanting to suck your dick. Of you like being this huge, everything you do is amazing, and fucking like, just like anything you say or do, the people hang on your every fucking word, all this kind of shit that I wanted to believe would happen when I got older. Like, there's nothing, and that's the thing that holds me, because even earlier I was just talking about video games, just talk about my favorite video games, all this kind of stuff with my brother, and like thinking there should be more, I don't know, excitement behind what was said, even though we were both pretty into what we were talking about. It was just kind of like I felt like there needed to be like some revelation, like I needed to, in this conversation, say something new. What? Right? Like something, we're just talking about video games we like. You don't need to end you don't need to walk away from every conversation with some new profound thing that's gonna elevate you even further. Sometimes it's just dudes just talking, and I notice I only do that with the things that are my favorite things, back to what I was saying earlier. So it's, I do that a lot, placing too much importance on things to a level that's completely fucking ridiculous, to like some like I gotta work at having fun or something like that, or I gotta like, I don't know, it's fucking like I go crazy with this it's never enough thing about the simplest things, just because that thing that I'm doing or the thing that I'm talking about is like one of my special interests. Being a person on the spectrum, not being able to fucking do your special interest because you also fucking hate yourself, yeah, that's all kinds of fun. But yeah, no, there's this whole, and maybe people don't do it to the extent of me, but I feel like people do that a lot. Like, if we all truly just shed all the outside shit around us and really truly did what we like really wanted to do, it would be much simpler, because like it's hard to like just shed everything and not be influenced by anything in your life. I mean, hell, you're gonna be influenced by something, but just really try to like narrow it down. It just all gets much easier, and it's trial and error, because you do have to take some nuance into it, because maybe there's things you think you were influenced into liking or wanting and stuff like that you actually weren't as much as you think, because like there may be elements of it with the word, but there's some truth in that. So it will, for certain people, especially like me with such fucking issues with it, is definitely trial and error. But like, I envy stupid people because they can just do what they want regardless. But then again, they're actually more influenced than anybody else by outside shit. But the thing is, they don't ever question it. So there is some admiration there, as annoying as I find them, especially when I said, like I said, when it comes to like the musician or celebrity thing. Fucking Taylor Swift fans come to my head first. Like, that's the first thing that just came to my head when I think of like stupid people and celebrity worship. But anyway, I'm sure that's not the ultimate example. I mean, that's the most famous example, I guess. But, hell, I fucking, like, I didn't listen to Tool for the longest time because I thought their fans were fucking, but I eventually gave them a shot. I did with Taylor, too, but I still think her music is just fine. Music-wise. Lyric-wise, she's clearly just... Her music is made for fucking girls in high school, or girls that are mentally stuck in high school. Absolutely. Oh my god. Which really shows you how many of those are. I hate when people get all like mad because she's so famous. I'm like, there's a lot of fucking basic bitches in the world. Of course she's famous. She's the queen of the basic white girl. Like, duh. It's not really all that shocking when people are like questioning. It's like, you can not like her, but it's not really that much of a mystery why she's so successful. It's literally what I just said. Literally the fucking basic queen of the basic white girls. It's like it's not fucking rocket science. You may not like it. I don't fucking like it, but it is what it is. Anyway, yeah. That's me getting off track, but it's just like I feel like a failure. And I don't need to, because the only reason I feel like a failure is because of outside influence. it's happiness is here's this, and happiness is literally it's right here, right? If you know, and all those things I want to do, if I just kind of just let go of everything, it all just kind of falls into place, right? There doesn't have to be this super uber structured or whatever things it is. Even if I'm not in the mindset of making everything monetizable, it's almost like I'm making everything out to be like I gotta like everything I do is a full-time job. Even if it's the dumbest little things, and it's like or like I'm performing. That's a good way to do it. It's like a good way to say it is like that's what it is with me, I guess. My whole need for validation blends into the moments where even nobody's watching, and it just gets a little, yeah. So I guess it wasn't such a huge mystery as to why I'm feeling the way I was. It's just kind of like it's it's not a topic I can necessarily like completely explain in one video, really, because like with me at least with me personally, because there's a lot of layered issues to it. There's a lot of like, you know, this happened when I was growing up, all this kind of stuff. I don't need to remember the specific situations that happened, but there's a lot of, it's, the older you get, definitely, it's like there's shit piled on top of shit, piled on top of shit, right? Which is why I recommend like everyone go to therapy, especially when you're young. Like even if not that much has happened, just do it, just so you don't have to like, because sometimes things just build up. You know, you go through daily life and you don't realize all these things that are kind of whatever. And it's not so much like, oh, you're gonna snap. It's more kind of like you don't realize some of the shit you're taking in is kind of useless, even though it feels like everything. And that I've been doing that a lot. So many things that feel so important, and I make that into a whole thing. They're not important at all, and I've proved it time and time again. I'm just in this current state of, like I said in the previous video, of being like in a place in my life right now where really nothing should be an issue, really. Like, sure, I got the needing to lose weight thing, but like that's not actually that hard as long as I just get to it. You know, the only thing that's making me not do it is all this kind of just freaking out about all this shit because you want to keep making something an issue. Just because I'm used to it. So there's that too. There's because I'm used to things being an issue. Oh, it's got to be a whole thing. So I guess that's a big part of the reason of me still holding on to that. You know, what I'm supposed to do or what people think I should do, and like making that my primary focus, even though a lot of these things that I think other people think I should do is probably not even anything they're thinking about. Because a lot of times people aren't fucking thinking about you. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's this probably isn't the ultimate video to watch to get the message, but if you feel like a failure, don't. And really, if you're being honest with yourself, it doesn't take that much to pull you back out of it. It doesn't have to be some grand thing of like you landed your dream job and stuff like that. That's cool if you want to do that. Still work to that, but it doesn't actually take that much to get to that point. You could be happy right here, right now, if you just kind of like, I mean, maybe not right here, right now, because there could be so much shit built up over time that even when you let it all go, it's still kind of, or you become unsure of yourself. Because that's happened to me before. Definitely when I first started going to therapy, and that became a whole big thing with my self-destruction. It's like, oh no, now I'm getting healthy. Now I don't know myself anymore. So I guess theoretically you should be able to be happy right now, but I know a lot of us have a lot of issues, so it's not that easy. But it's not. It can be difficult, but not in the way you might think, if that makes sense. A lot of people think it's going to be difficult in a much different way than it ends up being, if that makes sense. So yeah, if you feel like a failure, just don't do that.